I'll tell you right now, another team in the Dallas area that showed out a little bit. How about a little transition to some pure college hoops? TCU knocks off NC State for their first ranked win in 7 years. Mark Campbell he was in the portal. He got his picks. Look, they're ranked number 19 now, which I don't know exactly how long it's been since they've been in the AP poll, but it's been a minute. Hailey Van Lith gets her first double-double with assists, and like the moment post-game with Mark Campbell was like, obviously we don't know like the insider aspect of that, but man, did that feel just like a whole year at LSU came washing down and was just like exactly right. an exhale of whatever the hell happened last year and just kind of flushed it away and was just like, whew. And like the playmaker that she was supposed to be at LSU that we didn't like see in the way that I think many people were kind of hoping in like the best case scenario fit. It just didn't really happen at LSU. And we saw the two-man game between her and Sedona really look good in this game. The assists stacked up. I'm intrigued, man. Obviously, they have South Carolina on the way, which I plan on being there for that game as well. Mm-hmm. That obviously, I mean, that is the test of all tests is when South Carolina comes into town. I'm intrigued by just how for real that they are. But regardless, the trajectory of TCU is incredible right now.
Yeah, I can understand people's impulse to be slightly uneasy, watching Sedona Prince, given everything that's kind of played out in the public forum this offseason. That is what it is, mm-hmm. That's for better or worse. There are no charges, this is stuff that was played out on TikTok, an alleged domestic dispute between a former girlfriend and Prince and previous girlfriends coming out of the woodwork and saying that, they had similar types of experiences. There was a situation that happened in Oregon, mm-hmm. Kind of played out along similar lines. And so, I don't know if this is one of those things where you turn the page and go. Mark Campbell is a guy that I know leans heavily into his faith. He believes in second chances. I know that, the road to hell is sometimes paved with good intentions. But at this point, all we can do is assess the basketball mm-hmm. component here. So it does take at least a degree of swallowing the unease because this is not going to change. Mm-hmm. So in a way, you can have, it's like Brandon Miller at Alabama, right? Like you can have your concerns and your issues and your worries about what played out and why mm-hmm. and how it's being allowed and where things are. But after a certain point, it's like, well, the basketball is the basketball. And she's playing really good basketball right now. She's hiding in this system. I'm not sure if I buy all of this, buzz about her at the next level. She's a 25.
Yeah.
She is very injury prone. All it takes is one injury. It's important to note she was doing this last year too before she got hurt and the wheels.
Yes, she was.
Mm-hmm. With that said, this is kind of the Sedona Prince that Kelly Graves always talked about when she transferred from Texas. Like, this elbow jumper, multi-level scorer who, can move and play defense well. And, her energy and attitude seems markedly different than it was in Eugene. And I do think that kind of matters. There is a happiness with which she is playing. And I think that's kind of a hallmark of Mark's system. Like, I think Mark really tries to get joyfulness out of his mm-hmm. kids. And you could see it with Hailey Van Lith too. This idea that everything came. You're right. Everything came out that whole year. All of the agita, all of her name in the press, getting
the meme
brought up and handled by Caitlin on a national stage. Like all of those things, I think finally washed away in this place of like I'm in a place where I can succeed again. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I don't really know if that existed in Louisville all that much either. I mean, she played really good basketball there, but that was never. I don't think we ever looked at Hailey Van Lith the same way when she got to Louisville as what we thought she was going to be coming in, because of she got all the overtime buzz and all of the juice coming out of prep. And then she was just good. Like she wasn't great. She wasn't world beat. She was good. She's very good sometimes. Gets to LSU, it falls off the rails. And now she's in a place where, she's in a system that makes their guards look great. She runs a ton of PNR and she's going to look good this entire year. So it's TCU, man. They built through the portal. They did the things they needed to do. This is a very fun what if, because this is basically the old Oregon staff minus KG and a Hailey Van Lith that they were gunning for when
Trying to
she
get heavy
to recruit, and they struck out on her. And my understanding was the swap then went to Tahina Pau after they missed on Van Lith. So it's like, wow, this is this is what it could have looked like.
Yeah.
But all that to say, TCU is looking great, and South Carolina, we're gonna find out a lot about what their ceiling is when they see South Carolina, because South Carolina knows how to dictate pace. They're going to stop you and they're going to make you play their game, and that's where TCU is going to have to adjust.
Yeah, and honestly, like I'm still not like insanely high like on the prospects of them like going deep into anything or anything like that, but still the where they were to where they are just as a program, and like because even players that you have like coming, like Donovan Hunter coming in from Oregon State, like that is a player that you can like trust in the long term for like that is going to be a very, very good guard for you. And right now, like Van Lith is handling a lot of like the responsibilities of just being on the ball, which is kind of like taking some of her role down in a way. But that is still a player that is like, once Hailey is gone after this season, Donovan Hunter is going to be running the show. Like, and like, so like seeing those pickups that are already happening now, and then you have some immediate success as well. You have a big signature win. You're welcoming teams to come and play at TCU as well, which I think is also just a big thing. Like just accepting the challenge, and like if you get kind of beat up, like it is what it is. Like it can't get honestly it couldn't get much worse for TCU, frankly. Like it was not a program that was like renowned in any way. So the fact that
it was irrelevant, like and call what it is. It was a decent program that you just kind of were like, oh yeah, TCU, that's nice.
Yeah, but they got a cool design on their court. That's about it, But I mean, Van Lith is someone that Shardy, I know, is super high on for his mock draft, which you got to have a new mock draft coming your way this week. I mean, right now, 17 points, 8 assists, almost 7 rebounds a game. Like, those are some stats. Like, those are, no matter what way you slice it, those are some stats. I do want to touch on, as we kind of wrap up here, a game that we have this week. That speaking of some portal transfers, 2 teams that have really won in the portal in my eyes are Auburn and Oregon. Auburn is, and I want to preface this. Auburn, this will be Auburn's real first test. Like they have not played anyone great. Like that's just the competition. That's what they scheduled. So like, I am very intrigued in this game to see like just how much of a winner they truly are in the portal. However, looking at what we've seen, Deanna Gaston is cooking. 24 points and almost 11 rebounds a game. Like has had some monster games. And then one of my favorite players in the entire nation that really just like got lost in the sauce of the freshman class last year was Talia Scott, who transfers from Arkansas after her freshman year to Auburn. And Auburn had a really solid defense last year. Like they were one of the best defenses in the entire SEC. And they didn't really have the bucket getting. And Talia Scott is one of the best bucket getters in the entire nation across any class, across anything. But with some injuries, Arkansas just not being very good last year, she just did not get talked about in the way that pretty much any other season, she's the top freshman in the country and it's not even close. But last year's freshman class was last year's freshman class. And like that, the bar was so high. But man, first game in, because she was injured to begin the season. She's played 1 game. She ties the record for 3 points made in a single game in Auburn history with, I think it was 8. Like scores 26 points, 9 rebounds, 7 turnovers, which, just calm that down. But like, this is a sophomore that is proven already in the SEC that even on a team where there wasn't a ton of talent surrounding her on the offensive side of the ball, was able to go and average 20 plus points and transfers into now a team with a big that is producing, that was always in kind of Texas is always so crowded with their size and everything. So Gaston never really got the chance to like kind of be the big. And now she is able to do that and is immediately producing. Like I said, the opponents have not been strong. So I am not going crazy on any takes or anything. But when it comes to like teams I got the eye emoji next to, Auburn has been like the biggest one for me because the stats are the stats. Like the production is there. Now we get to see it from Oregon. I'm interested from your thoughts on the flip side of this. I know Oregon is come on home field where you can use code NOCAP15 to get 15% off your first order. Come on now. But I'm just interested. I mean, Deja Kelly has been cooking, has been doing her thing, but there's a lot of transfers on this team, honestly. So I'm just interested in your takeaway so far.
Well, fantastic ad read segue. We do love that. We love our friends at Home Field.
Love them.
No Cap 15 to get 15% off your first order. They got these dope corduroy hats. They got new Campus Classic pullovers. We got a whole lot of everything, man. Home Field keeps us looking fresh, and will keep you looking fresh too. Now, as it pertains to my Ducks, it does not surprise me that we are getting this out of Deja Kelly. I know that there was a lot of worry and concern about what kind of player she would be, but at the same time, Kelly Graves' system is one that does make its guards look good. I know that hasn't been the case in past years, especially the last two, but generally people that play in the system, even in the down years, like they're pretty good guards, you know, and are, at the very least, the counting stats look pretty good. I will say this, Oregon is at this point, I think, battle tested. You know, Cal Baptist, Grand Canyon, those are probably two of the top teams in the WAC this year. Baylor is a top 15 team. Auburn, we're going to learn a lot about because they go on the road to Oregon and then immediately follow that up going on the road to Cal. So we're going to know exactly the ceiling and floor there.
100%. I'm really excited.
But, you know, and I'm going to write about this here pretty soon. You know, the portal is something that Kelly Graves has always skewed. And I think people look at it and have these thought processes about what Oregon's been the last couple of years because the belief has been he's been missing in the portal. Well, he really hasn't. Like, he's taken people like Taya Hansen. He's grabbed a couple other, you know, sort of G5-ish type players, like, or mid-majors, I guess you could say, like a Skylar Gill or a Peyton Scott. Peyton Scott's healthy this year. She makes a big difference. But he fully went in this year. Like in a way that he has not before. And some of that you could say is, you know, looking in the mirror and saying, whatever we're doing is not working. Like, let's lean in the other way. I think he got one of the most underrated players in the portal this year, Alexis Whitfield, who's a 15-10 player out of UC Santa Barbara. And she was on Caitlin Chen's AAU team in high school. Like, she's legit. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's a really good pull for him to get. I've been really surprised about Amina Muhammad out of Texas. She's their starting center now. You have Deja, you have Peyton Scott. What's crazy about this Oregon team is that they're 4 of their starting 5 are transfers. Sophia Bell is the only player that was recruited, and you know their bench is a smattering of both. Philly Che, Rambus Fiso are all players that were recruited. Ari Long, Elisa Mevius, who's really another really good pull out of Siena, and Nani Falate out of BYU. So it's a much heavier portal class than it's been in past years. And you're seeing the immediate returns. Conversely, just up the road at Oregon State, you see the result of getting decimated by the portal. And it sucks because they're now 1-3 on the year, and they look like it doesn't look like it's going to be super competitive. You know, they replaced a ton. And you know, them's the breaks of what we've seen this season. But very impressed with Oregon, impressed with TCU. You know, the top teams, obviously, you know, South Carolina, UConn, doing their thing, as we know. LSU kind of the same thing, but there's a lot of teams kind of toward that 17 to 25 range that I have been really impressed with right out of the gate. The one name I want people to take away, Vanderbilt's Michaela Blakes. That is a name you want to remember amongst fabulous freshmen. She might be a freshman of the year contender this year.
Yeah, I just across the board, like with you mentioned the freshman, and this is even the thing I was thinking about diving into a little bit further on our Substack, but like, please don't sleep on this freshman class because there are some hoopers in this. And I know last year's class set the bar so incredibly high, but please don't sleep on this class because there are some hoopers like within this class, especially at some of the smaller schools, like not the schools like, you know, like you have like a Sarah Strong at UConn who's been really, really good to start off the season. But there's some, like to your point, like a Vanderbilt is not a school you're like, oh yeah, let me go look for that freshman. That's not really what you're generally thinking, but you're absolutely right. She's been cooking. So please, I'm begging you, don't sleep on this class just because of last year's. But no, I'm really excited for this game. Like to your point, I think Oregon is definitely the more battle-tested team. Obviously, that win against Baylor is a fantastic one, just as they continue to kind of exercise demons from last season and just kind of build and forget. And a lot of these players weren't even here last season. I am interested in Amina Muhammad. Like, that is a player that I saw a lot of at Texas. I got to see in person several times at Texas. Like, I'm waiting to kind of see her, I think, get her footing just a little bit more. Like, she hasn't been able to play a ton of minutes. She's had some foul trouble here and there. And like I know in the Baylor game got into some foul trouble. So I'm just interested in seeing her as she continues to get her footing and what that looks like. And that's not even a knock on like anything she's done bad so far. I'm very high on her and think she can do even more. So I'm interested in seeing how that kind of develops over the course of the season. But yeah, like I said, this is not a game that like I feel like to the national like casual women's basketball fan is going to jump off the screen. But Auburn Oregon should be a great game. Like we are going to learn a lot in this game about what these two teams project to be. And for that alone, I'm super excited. So, and there's a lot of other games that you can check out with the watch guide that Andrew does every week as well, and see what you need to be watching throughout the week.
Be a ball knower.
Be a ball knower.
Want to know ball? We'll tell you how to know ball.
There you go. That's why you're here at No Cast Space. But no, we got a good week for y'all ahead. I know this weekend I will be in Los Angeles for the big time doubleheader in the city of LA with USC and Notre Dame matching up and South Carolina and UCLA matching up. We'll have boots on the ground from there. But yeah, we'll have a mock draft later this week as well from Rashard. So we got you covered. We got you covered across the board this week, as we always do here at No Cast Space. But for the first episode of Ball Up Top, the weekly podcast from No Cast Space, Tyler, Andrew, we're signing out. Cool.
Sweet.